number 5. Okay. Step number 5. Steps to when test cases fail, it will take the screenshot of the failed test cases. Step number 5. The test cases fail, it will take the screenshot of the failed test cases. Okay. Look at my screen. Right click on generic libraries. Right click on generic libraries. Right click on generic libraries. New, create a class. Right click on generic libraries. New, create a class. Name the class as screenshot. Name the class as screenshot and click on finish. Name the class as screenshot and click on finish. Tell me the steps, guys. How do you take a screenshot? With the help of which interface? How do you take a photo? With the help of what? You already know. Same program. Step number 1. Takes screenshot. Okay. Let me pass it as WebDriver. Let me pass it as WebDriver. Let me import WebDriver. Okay. Take screenshot. TS is equals to driver. Take screenshot. TS is equals to driver. So I have to do typecasting. TS dot get screenshot as output type dot file. Okay. Next. Let me store it inside one reference variable. Return type of this is file. Now, let me create an object. Let me create an object for the class file. Photo path is already specified, correct? Where is the photo path? Auto constant dot photo path. Photo path is already there. Next, file utils dot copy file from src to destination. You already know this program, isn't it? Isn't it? Same program. Correct? Make a note. Start writing. Start writing. It's the same program. No changes. Start writing. Finished? Okay. Now tell me, will you take a screenshot? Will you take a screenshot whenever test case get failed, or will you take screenshot for one time and will keep quiet? You have to import Deepanjali. Same program you already written. Same program you already written once. Tell me guys, whenever the test case get failed, you have to take a photo, or one time will you take a photo and will you keep quiet? Whenever the test case get failed, you have to take a photo whenever the test case get failed. Now what to do for that? Same program. What is add on? Look at my screen. I need to create an object for the class called date. So date is an object which is coming from what? File utils. Okay. So there's a class called date. There's a class called date. Date is a class which is coming from java.utils package. You have to import from utils package only. Be very careful. You have to import it from utils package. You have to import it from java.utils package. Next, so if you look at your date in the system, everyone's date is in a different format. So let me convert the date into string format and let me replace all. Let me replace all. Let me replace all. And let me call this as current date. Current date. Okay. Done? Everybody understood these two lines of the code? Okay, since I want to take the screenshot on the daily basis, whenever the screenshot get failed, I need to create an object for the date class. This date class will take a screenshot on daily basis. Okay, and also I'm going to replace it. Clear? Clear these two lines? Now, see this photo path. Photo path. Guys, tell me, there will be so many methods that you're going to write, or so many classes you're going to write. So I have to tell, right, which method has been failed. Yes or no? I need to tell which method it has been failed. Correct? Which method it has been failed, right? So let me pass it as a parameter. String name. Let me pass it as a parameter. String name. Dot. Okay. Current date along with the name. So you should pass it as a parameter. To the method. Okay. So name variable and the photo should be stored with the .png extension. Everybody's clear? So you should also get the name of the test case which is getting failed. Correct, right? So pass it as a parameter. Okay. Current date plus the name plus the extension. So now you have to write line number 17, 18 and 23. Line number 23, and you should pass it as the parameter to the method. Write it down. Write it down. Done. Done. Okay. Date class should be imported from java.utils package. Java.utils package. Done. Now let me go. So this method is a static method or a non-static method? This method is a static method or a non-static method? Non-static. So we have to create an object. Now everybody go to step group. Everybody open step group. Now before I close the application, okay, before I close the application, I have to take the screenshot. Okay, before I close the application, if my test cases are failed, I need to take the screenshot. So for that, I have an interface called as, it's an inbuilt interface called as I test result. Okay, so I have an interface called as I test result is the interface. So as we all know, we can access the interface with the help of reference variable. So I've created a reference variable. So here we have a method called as get status. We have a method called as get status. So we have three status. If the status is equals to 1, it will take a test, photo of past test case. If a status is equals to 2, it will take a photo of the failed test cases. If the status is equals to 3, then it will take a photo of the skip test cases. Which photo you want? Pass, fail or skip? Which photo you want? Pass, fail or skip? You want fail. So what is the status of the fail? What's the status of the fail? It is 2. Okay. So let me store it inside one variable. The return type of this is int. Okay. So next. So I want to get the name of the test case which get fails. I want to get the name of the test case which get fails. So we have a method called as get name. We have a method called as get name. So now I'll write condition. If status is equals to 2. If status is equals to 2, then we need to take the screenshot. Then we have to take the screenshot. Okay. Yes dot get screenshot as. Yes dot get screenshot as. That's all. Okay. Write it down. iTest result is an inbuilt interface. iTest result is an inbuilt interface in testng. We're using this in order to get the method called get status and get name. Make a note. Finished? Finished? That's all. This completes your framework designing. Which parameter? Rahul, this is a reference variable. Using this interface only you can access those methods. If you don't call that method, if you don't call that interface, you cannot access that method. That's the reason I called it. Clear? Line number 36. This name. I need to get a name of the test case which get failed. You already passed the as a parameter here. The same name we are calling it. So what we did day number 1. Okay. You have to import date from java.utils class. Nishita. Java.utils import statement is wrong. I keep telling the class, you people will not listen. Look at my screen. Step number 1. You guys created one interface. You guys created one interface and you always store the path of property file and photo path. This is step number 1. Everybody understood this? Everybody understood this? Okay, next. We created one step group. Okay, so every time we need to open the browser, every time we need to close the browser. It's a repetitive process. So in order to avoid the repetition, what we did, we created an object for one time. We created the opening of the browser and closing of the browser for one time. Okay, next. So you should never hardcode the data. You should read from the external resources. So we have written a generic method to read the data from the property file. So if you consider application will have so many drop down, mouse over, right click, double click. It has so many elements. Correct, right? So in order to handle those elements, we have written a generic method to handle those elements. So if the test case get failed, we need to take a screenshot of the failed test cases. Correct, right? So I have written the photo to take the screenshot of the failed test cases. Clear? Okay. And now look at my screen. Step number 2. Step number 2. Observe carefully, listen carefully. Step number 2. Step number 2 is called as implementation. So what is step number 2? Step number 2 is called as implementation. So what is implementation? Converting manual test cases into automation test scripts is called as implementation. So what is implementation? The process of converting manual test cases into automation test scripts is called as implementation. Okay, so here same page object model, but we have to follow two rules. We have to follow two rules. Rule number one, understand. For every new page, we need to create new class. Understood? For every new page in an application, so we need to create a new class. This is understood as step number 1. Step number 1 is understood. Okay, next step number rule number 2. For typing and clicking, we should use normal method. For other actions, such as, such as drop down, mouse over, etc., etc., etc. We need to create, we need to create getters method. How to create getters method? I'll tell you. Okay, we need to create getters method. Are you understanding? Only for normal typing and clicking. Okay, we need to create a normal method. Except that we need to create a getters method. How to create a getters method? I'll tell you. Okay. Stage number 2, implementation. Converting the manual test cases into automation test scripts is called implementation. You have to follow 2 rules. So I'll give you 2 minutes of time. Go with the declaration, implementation, and initialization of page object. Write it down. I'll give you 2 more minutes. Go through page object model, declaration, initialize, utilization. Same thing, we are going to write it again. Okay, write this and go through it. Finished? Did you go